Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is the next video in the mock interview series with UiPath Aspirant. For the people who are looking this series for the first time, in this series I am taking mock interview for candidate based on their resume, their experience and their skill set. Please note that this is just a mock interview. It is not for any client, any customer or any of the job opportunities. The format of the mock interview is absolutely simple. The candidate send me the resume. I set up some time. I take the mock interview and all the confidential details such as the name, the company name, the project information, everything remains confidential with me. Even the name which you see in the mock interview is changed. So you do not have to worry about any of the details. Once I receive the interview, I hide the details, we take the interview. At the end, I guide the candidate that what are the topics he needs to improve upon, and I also provide the feedback on the interview so that they can perform well in their live interview. In terms of cost, the cost of the mock interview is absolutely free for you. You don't have to pay me anything. You just have to send me your resume and we can set up a common time and I conduct a mock interview for you. In case your experience match this mock interview, you can go ahead and watch. But in case you are coming from a different experience, you can go back to the playlist. There we have a couple of mock interviews which are already taken. You can watch them, get some insight, and hopefully that should be helpful in your next interview. If you want to appear for such a mock interview, all you have to do is just drop me an email on the email ID which is available in the description. Having said that, let's get started with today's mock interview. Okay, Sashi, I have got your resume with me. I'm going to conduct the mock interview for you. The format of the mock would be simple. I would be asking question based on your resume. You have to answer, and at the end, I'm going to tell you which all questions you have answered incorrectly and materials, topic, and areas where you need to improve upon. Okay.
Yeah,
Great. So we can get started by having a quick introduction about yourself.
my name is Shashikant, and I have done my MCA from about my professional experience. I have total 11 years of experience in IT industry, and relevant experience in UiPath is almost 6 years. So I started my career as a .NET developer, and in 2018, I started my RP journey, and I automate almost 45 plus processes in my in this journey. And
Mhm.
in my current organization, my role and responsibilities are I'm working as a lead RPA developer in my current organization and responsible for end-to-end RPA development and also having involvement in support in the POCs and all the uh, RP related tasks. Yeah.
Okay, that's great. So if I understand it correctly, you have done around 45 plus, right? And about the RP technologies, which all technologies are you aware of?
When I started my RP journey, I learned Blue Prism, Automation Anywhere, and UiPath.
Mhm.
In Automation Anywhere, I have certifications. When we started allocated into the project, I got the UiPath project, so that's why
Mm.
I have hands-on experience on UiPath only.
Okay, understood. Okay, so if you are working as a senior RP developer, so definitely you are doing kind of a solution architect kind of a role also, right?
Yeah, it could be
Yeah.
because when yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So can you tell me about, let's say you have 10 processes, okay, which you have to automate. And I tell Sashi that these are the list of 10 processes which you have to automate, right? What would you consider while selecting the processes for automation?
Yeah, when assessment is happened, in that time we have to identify the processes which is rule based,
Mhm.
most of the cases, and we have to identify the causes, if anything with that is a filter criteria. And it should not be required in the process sorry, is there any decision making uh, mm, decision making uh, required in the business use case? So that will be the first criteria.
Hmm. Okay,
Yeah.
so let's say there are 10 process and all of them are rule based. Okay,
Mhm.
then what would be the next criteria?
So next criteria will be the estimation, analyze the process. What
Hmm.
are the challenges in it, if it is a static based or web based automation, and also we have to consider what is in our capacity, so capability. Do you have the workforce to automate all the processes? So
Mm.
a team is also required. That factor is also need to consider. And
Hmm.
what are the priorities we required to automate the process? That could be one important point.
Mm.
So we will select the use case that is needs to be high priority. So these are the few criteria as per my understanding.
Okay. If I talk about the architecture, right? Can you talk about the architecture of your current project?
Yeah, or in our UiPath RP architecture, we have three components, majorly three components. So that is
Hmm.
robot, orchestrator, and database.
Mm.
So we have the first layer is the client layer. That is, we are developing the bots by using UiPath Studio. The second layer is or the server layer. That is, we
Mm.
once we completed the development, we have to deploy the process into the orchestrator, so that and it will manage all the things in a centralized place. And the third is the data persistence layer. That is database, all job related information, logging, and
Mm.
other this data this information is stored and into the database. So three major components in a database, sorry, RP architecture.
Okay. Uh, Tell me one thing. So, let's say I'm creating an automation. Okay. And
Mhm.
we have to make that automation scalable, right? Do you understand what is scalable automation?
Uh, s- I have an idea, but
Scalable,
not
I'll tell you the
recalling it.
definition. Scalable simply means that today there are only 10 transaction or 10 people using your automation. Okay. So
Mhm.
tomorrow, if the volume increases out of instead of 10, now there are 100 transaction or 100 people which are using. So automation should be flexible enough, right? Because if the volume increases, the automation should be able to tackle the scalability, right? So
Yeah.
what, as an RPA developer or as a solution architect, I can do to make sure
Mhm.
that my automation is scalable?
Yeah, in that case, we can request to the we'll have a discussion with the client first, and we will discuss with the performance of the robot, and also this
No,
the
performance is
volume of
fine.
the transaction.
Performance is all code related, right? So developer will do the best practices and all, right? That is all there, right? But I have to make a automation and I want to make it scalable, right? Scalable simply means I should be able to increase the volume and I should be able to decrease the volume without changing the code.
Okay, so we can request a few more robots if a transaction getting
Hmm.
a huge amount of transaction is getting for that process, or we can implement the high density robot, so
Mhm.
that load can be distributed for amongst the each robot, and collaboratively it will execute in a less time.
Okay, so but high density robot. So let's say I just created an automation in a sequence. Okay,
Mhm.
I just created an automation in a sequence. There I am reading an Excel which is having 100 rows. Okay. Now,
Mhm.
if I run this robot in high density, right, would the robot be able to divide the work among all the robots? What will you do in the
Yeah,
coding, right? So high density, everything is in your setting, right? Where I say I go to Orchestrator, I purchase more robots, I purchase high density machine, high density robot, right? But what exactly I'm going to do in my code?
so if this process is transaction, that it
Hmm,
is feasible to implement the high density robot.
mhm,
If it is not there, then it is a sequential process. Then it is good to uh, we can have one option, that is rescheduling the your process and trigger and manage the things into that, and we can request more robot to execute the process to have multiple jobs.
okay, okay. Can you talk about your architecture of your last automation project, or tell me about the problem statement on the last automation project which you have been done?
Yeah, I would like to explain that is invoice intelligent
Hmm,
uh, mm, processing.
mhm,
So it was built for a European client, and it is a healthcare organization,
hmm,
and this organization is having multiple entities.
okay.
Okay. So each entity was generating the invoices from regular PDF or scan PDF,
Hmm,
and there looks for the RPA automation,
mhm,
and user was manually classifying the invoice for a different entity without
hmm,
having purchase order into the SAP application. So,
hmm,
and for each invoice processing, almost in a day, one user can process 50 to 60 invoices can be processed
hmm,
in a SAP application. So that was a problem statement.
hmm,
So as a RPA, and we have suggested one approach, that is to implement two models. That the first component is AI,
mhm,
AI ML model,
mhm,
and second, the extension of this, the second component is RP.
hmm,
So the ML model role was like to crunch the PDF and
hmm,
extract the relevant information from that PDF, and whatever is the extracted information from that invoice PDF. So that information, uh, ML model will send to the orchestrator queue. So
mhm.
information in the sense invoice number, amount, and item detail, and also there is one flag like whether it is related to accuracy of the ML model,
You are
whether it is.
using document understanding here?
No, actually, ML model, we have a separate team for that, and
Mhm.
they built the ML model by using Python.
Okay. So a question here, right? So let's say you are working on those, and then for all of these processes, data accuracy and validation is something which is very important, right? So I
Okay.
created an automation. I am extracting the data, but I am not confident, right? So the confidence score of the model is low,
Hmm, hmm,
right? So you
hmm,
got 10 invoices. Let's take it simple. 10 invoices, 5 successfully processed. In the
hmm,
3,
hmm.
you are getting 50% confidence, and the remaining 2, the model is not able to identify at all or classify at all,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
What
yeah.
happens to the other 5 automation where the confidence score is low, or the invoices are the robot is not able to classify the invoices, right? What happens to those invoices in the process?
Yeah. I'm coming to that point.
Okay.
That whatever I said, like what
Hmm.
information extracted from the PDF,
Hmm.
it is we are using the Orchestrator API
Hmm.
to send the data into the queue.
Hmm.
So in that information, we have one flag that is related to accuracy.
Hmm.
So for if accuracy is greater than 75%, then it should be considered as
Hmm.
creating a purchase order into the SAP application. If
Okay.
it is less than 75, then it should be go to the manual, because there is a provision in a SAP application in that process. So we can select the manual processing and select the high priority there. So user can select the that invoice processing on high priority.
But how will it provide that to the user, right? So
Yeah, yeah.
I have added the data to the queue, right? So
Mm,
I have all my invoice data to the queue along with the confidence score, right?
yeah,
Now
yeah.
for one of the invoice I get that, okay, this is 50% accurate, right? What is the next
Yeah.
step? What happens after that?
Yeah, yeah. We have considered as a this as a business exception,
Okay.
and if yeah, the first component I already told you that is for
Hmm.
ML model, and second was the RPA.
Right.
So we have built the process
Hmm.
to extract the data from the queue and
Hmm.
create the purchase order into the SAP application.
Okay.
In along with few business exception, that is the first we check the flag, is it a manual or automatic? So if
Hmm.
it is automatic, then the robot will create the purchase order into the SAP application. And if it is manual, then it will just select that invoice and change the priority and send it to manual.
So then somebody manually would take care of that invoice, correct?
Mhm.
But then there is a concern, right? So the model is not learning itself, right? So let's say you have trained a model, okay, and
Yeah.
it's giving you that accuracy which is of 50%, right? Now,
Mhm.
because as soon as it get 50% low confidence, assign it to the user, right? Now the user correct the things and the automation might be completed, right? But if next week or next day the same invoice is again coming, it will again show 50%, right?
Mhm.
Because you're not training
Yeah,
the
yeah.
model, right?
Yes, yes, we are training the model because I this is the next step.
Hmm.
So whatever is the process, whatever is the invoice are processed by the robot,
Hmm.
and after that we have built the one report. So whatever is the business exception, like a manual, whatever we send this invoices as a manual. So
Hmm.
these information is extracted from the by using the API to build the
Hmm.
report,
Hmm.
and we have classified all the invoices. So sorry, all the failure business exception,
Hmm.
and these report is sent back to the ML model, and
Via
there
RPA.
the model. No, we are sending to the ML model team. So they are checking the whatever is the business exception coming, why robot is not able to process because of
Hmm.
this exception, and on the basis of that data, they are training the ML model.
Okay, so you don't have any role in that ML, right? You are just using that model, passing the data to the model and getting the output, right?
Yes, yes, correct.
So basically, you are just doing an RPA and your different team has created that AI ML model, right? You're just using that
Yes, yes,
API
correct.
and doing the stuff, right? Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Got it. So, when you talk about this, right, what is the volume of the transactions? How many invoices your automation is processing?
Yeah, in when I talked about the report, so we
Hmm.
have getting the report from whatever what invoices what robot process invoices in the last 24 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So the volume of the invoice processing was it was like excellent. Means no daily 2000 plus invoice was processed by the robot.
Okay. And how
So
much
one
time does
robot
it
is
take?
process.
How much time it take to complete one invoice, process, extract everything?
It the when we implement the robot, it takes 4 minutes,
Hmm.
and the manual processing was 8 to 9 minutes.
Okay. So for 2000 approximately, for if I take a 4 minutes, it is going to run around 8000 minutes, right? And
Yeah,
that comes approximately to 133. So if you say that you have 2000 invoices, okay, each
yeah,
invoice take 4 minutes. So it comes to 8000 minutes, correct?
maybe.
Right? So 8000 minutes, right?
Yeah,
Now 8000 minutes. divided by 60 means 133 hours.
Yes,
Correct?
yes.
So
Yeah.
133 hours, right? So I have in one day, I have only 24 hours. So here, 5 days, continuously 5 days, your automation is running, right? For 2000 invoices.
Yes, yes.
24 cross 7 it is running.
Yes, we have a schedule like that because of there are multiple robots also involved.
Mhm.
The same process is
Okay. Can you tell me
executing
who is adding data to the queue?
ML
Which
model.
ML model is adding data to the queue?
Yes.
Okay. And what time that ML model is scheduled?
ML model is scheduled. It is continuously when invoice is generating,
Mhm.
invoice coming into the folder. They are
Mhm.
just crunching that invoice, and
Okay.
once
And
that
who will
PDF
place
is
that invoices in the folder?
that is the user.
The user will manually copy paste the invoices into a folder.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
But how would the ML model know that, okay, there is some file which is placed in the folder?
Yeah,
Somebody
that
need to
is
tell them. Yeah.
yeah. So it is built like once invoice into that folder, that
Hmm.
ML model will pick automatically, and
How?
once it
That's the question.
process,
How? So somebody has to trigger the ML model, right? ML model is deployed, right? It's deployed on cloud. It's deployed somewhere, right? How would that ML model know that I have placed some file in the folder? You got my question?
uh, yeah, yeah, I got your question, but
Yeah.
I'm not sure about that. How the schedule was happened in ML model.
No,
The structure was
it should run every 5 minutes, every 2 minutes, every 10 minutes, right? Uh,
yeah.
because somebody needs to tell, right, that ML model that how it is scheduled, right? Okay,
Mhm.
fine. So let's say I have placed 10 files, 10 invoices in that folder. Okay.
Yeah,
And somehow the ML model triggers and it add all the data from 10 files to the queue.
yeah.
Correct? This is your orchestrator queue
Y-
now, right?
Yes, yes. Yeah.
Okay. Now,
For
so
that,
there are,
we have schedule the robot in every 15 minutes.
but you have the data in the queue, right? You can always use a queue trigger.
Yes, yes, we can use trigger, but maybe
Mhm.
that was not implemented at that time.
What was not implemented at that time?
That is a queue-based trigger was not implemented.
Okay. When did you implemented this process?
Maybe when I was in last organization there,
Mhm.
maybe 2, 3 hour back, 2, 3 year back.
I think queue-based triggers was implemented. Okay, fine. So you have done it every 15 minutes, right? So every 15
Hmm.
minutes, it's going to the queue and it is reading the data, right?
Yes.
Now tell me one thing. Let's say your uh, automation, right, which is processing the data into the SAP is completely down.
Hmm.
Okay, it's not working at all. Now,
Okay.
this guy, this your ML model, keep populating the data. So it populated 1000 records, sorry, 2000 records. After 5 minutes, again 2000 records, again 2000 records, right? And your process was supposed to run every 15 minutes and it's not working, right? So at the end of the day, you have close to 20 lakhs transaction, 10 lakh transactions, right, in the queue. Because ideally, your automation was supposed to run every 15 minutes and clear the queue, right?
Yes,
But
yes, correct.
since it is not working, you have a lot of transaction in the queue.
Yeah.
What happens to the queue now?
So in that case, we if any failure or
Hmm,
in a SAP application login
hmm,
details,
hmm.
so that is captured already in the robot part,
No, that's
and
fine.
we are
That's all
sending.
technical, right? So I understand that it will
Mhm.
generate a system exception. It will say that, hey, I am not working and all that. But what happens to the items in the queue, right? You have, let's take a simple number, 10 lakhs item in the queue. What happens
Uh-huh.
to them? What happens to those?
So it will be simply distribute all the transaction will distribute on the executing the process.
How?
So it will may take some time because to process the 20 lakh record it will
Hmm.
take few days. But I don't think so. We need to do anything into that. Once the SAP
Mm-hmm.
application is up and running,
Mm-hmm.
then it will automatically get the transaction and process it into the SAP application.
Now I am your management and I am telling you that Sashikant, give me the report. Okay.
Mhm.
I'm asking you, give me the report of what happened to this process. Okay, as simple as that. I am the business user, right? I wanted to see that if I have processed 2000 items, what is the
Mhm.
status of my items, right? 500 success, 200 business failure. How would I generate a report, right? Simple task. I am a
Mhm.
business user. I want to know what is happening to my invoices. How do I get the report?
Yeah, we have built the report. We are sending them. Uh, mm, we are sending on daily basis report to the client. That
How?
is, these are and it is also the well classified. We
No,
are
but
extracting.
where is this code written?
This is a separate process. The report.
Okay, and what does it do? What is the technical? How does it generate the report?
Uh, yeah. So we have used our Orchestrator API to get the failure items
Uh-huh.
and all the details from
Uh-huh.
last 24 hours.
Okay.
So these last 24 hours, that is as it asset base. So whatever timing we can provide the 15 days or 10 days. So the timing can be provided into the asset. So based on that filter criteria, robot will extract the information by using Q. And once
Mm-hmm.
we have that data into the Excel sheet, we are doing some manipulation in a code to organize
Mm-hmm.
uh, that information into particular columns. And also we are sending the summary how many are of failed, how many are successful, and how many needs to be processed manually. The count is there. So that kind of report we have built, and
Mm.
we are sending that report to ML model as well, ML model team as well, and the client side as well.
Okay, got it. Last question from my end to you is that let's say I'm writing an automation, okay, and I do not have an activity in UiPath for that. So, for example, I have to, let's say I am writing a word automation and I have to uh, format an image in the Word, right? I don't have an activity for that in UiPath. How do you address any scenario for which there is no activity in UiPath?
So first of all, as I understand, so you need to
Well, take anything, right? So there are a lot of things where there is no activity, right? So let's talk about the top of my mind. I say graph, right? I want to refresh a graph in Excel. There is no activity.
yeah, correct. So
Yeah.
we if there are for I'm considering this example like we need to refresh the graph.
Hmm.
So in that case, we can write the macro to
Mm-hmm.
macro, and we can execute this macro by using Excel application scope, and we can execute the macro
Hmm.
to refresh that graph. And in another case, if you want to, this activity is not present, but we need to perform the actions like then we can create the custom activity or right, we can use the invoke code activity. So it is
Okay.
small amount of code required, then we can use the invoke code activity.
Okay, great. So that was my last question. So let's come to your feedback, right? So, okay, so overall your interview is good, right? I am pretty much convinced on the questions which you have answered me in terms of process selection, RPA architecture, high density robots, queues and all, right? But when I came to your project, right, the project numbers, whichever you are telling me, and you you telling me that you are not sure how the ML model is scheduled, how does it put the data into the queue, how does it pick the data from the folder, right?
So at and close to 11.6 years of experience, right? You are now
Yeah.
a senior guy, right? And when I am taking an interview, right? So I am not going to ask you, and I haven't asked you any of the technical questions, right? Because for that there are junior developers, senior developers, and all, right? But for
Mm.
you, the biggest thing would be that you should be aware of everything about the project, mainly in terms of
Yeah.
the solution architecture, right? How do you do that? When is that ML? How do you scale it? How do you
Mhm.
descale it? And when you're telling me that you're not sure how this ML model is picking up the data, right? How much time it would take, and when we do the time calculation also, that is not fitting well, right? 4 minutes, right? 8,000 minutes. So that is something which I was not convinced. But apart from your theoretical answers, whichever you have given me, the last recent questions on the orchestrator and all these retrace, everything is good. But when it comes to the actual project answers on the
Mhm.
solution architect, there I was not pretty much convinced, right? So
Okay.
maybe you need to go back and see how that project is actually running, right? Not at the technical level. Now at this experience of 11, 12 years, right? People would be expecting you technical, but not that much. It would be more
Yeah.
kind of the team management, project management. If I am using ML, why I am using ML? Why not document
Mm.
understanding, right? So
Yeah.
this would be my feedback to you.
And so I just wanted to know any one example of hyper automation. So what we can, where we can say this is the hyper automation.
Okay, so before that, I would like to ask you a question, right? What do you understand by hyper automation project?
My understanding is when
Mhm,
we are using the combination of uh, mm, two different or three different technology and build the whole process as a automation.
mhm.
So this could be under the hyper automation.
Okay, or we can say that if you build something using advanced RPA technologies such as
Mhm.
attended, unattended together, right? Doing
Okay.
AI, ML, advanced analytics, cognitive
Mhm.
services, right? That is called an hyperautomation. Okay, so plain automation is
Okay.
just using your RPA. You go to Excel, scraping something, and you are done, right? But let's say you are writing an automation where you have to create an automation which is dealing with apps, which is providing an interface to the user to input the data. Okay.
Okay.
At the same time,
Mhm.
it is connecting to different application like SAP,
Okay.
ServiceNow, extracting the information, putting the data
Mhm.
into some feeds, analyzing the data
Mhm.
with the help of ML or any AI algorithm, doing the analytics and reporting for you. Example of an hyperautomation solution.
Okay. Okay. Got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was my feedback on your interview. Overall, it was good, but I think you need to revisit your project altogether. Okay. And
Okay. Yeah.
at 10 years of experience, I think this kind of question would be asked to you. Okay.
Mhm.
And yeah, apart from that, how was your overall feedback for this interview? How
Yeah.
did you? Yeah.
Thank you so much for replying on my request. And I thought I never thought you will respond very quick. And thanks for the thanks for the this mock interview. And I am getting my flaw where I'm getting stuck or rejecting from the interviews and all this. I got to know
Hmm.
the instant feedback, so I will work on that. And also that I'm a big fan of you because I'm watching all your videos and getting understanding of more insightful information into your videos. So that is very helpful to all RP developers.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate your feedback. Okay, great then. Thank you. Have a good day. Nice
Yeah,
talking to you.
yeah. Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Okay, so that is all for this video. I would like to wrap this video here. I hope this was insightful. If you have any more questions, any more doubts, feel free to write me in the comments, or you can also drop me an email as well. I would appreciate your feedback on the video, and tell me in the comments what would be the next topic or next video you want to see. So with that, I would wrap this video here. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please do subscribe to the channel, and happy automation.